Hello, hello. I'm going to attempt a planner and journal lineup, but I also wrote that this is a doubtful Techo Kaigi, which is what they say in terms of like working out what you're going to use for the next year in Japanese, because I always have great plans, but then they don't always end up as going as well as I hope. And of course, I love stationery, I love planning, I love journals. Um, so I have so many. And of course, we always want to get so much done, but that rarely actually works out in the end. So when it comes to 2021, if you check like my old video, I definitely had so many journals piled up that I wanted to get through, and I did get through a fair amount of them, but certainly not all of them. And many of them, of course, are unfinished. And I also have new journals that I've acquired one way or another, and they are not yet broken into, or I have other themed journals that I have not yet finished. There's really only one thing that is certain for me, and that is my planner, which I made. It's just like a leather, cover, like covering cardboard, and inside I have printed inserts, um, like calendar and for tracking purposes. And I do have some like goal type things and important dates, quarterly planning that I can fill out for the overview, and ongoing dates. But mostly I use a monthly. It's really small and just like a notes page. And when it comes to functional planning, I find that that's all I really need. I don't really need to get much more detailed than that. But I do have like weekly planner pads, those like tearaway type that I can use if things get really busy for a week and I need to write it down. But I think it's mostly because I don't write things down if it's part of a routine or something that I already know that I need to do, and I'm gonna do it anyways. Like, I don't need to be reminded of it. So um, I know that it is sometimes um, like you have that satisfaction of like writing down your whole list and crossing them all out or checking them off, and I get that feeling, but it would just get too much. Like, I don't write doing the dishes or taking the kids to school or like doing my laundry. I already know those are the things of like everyday life that we do. So things that I write down are mostly like appointments, dates, holidays, things like that, so I can see the overview of the month, and then a list of like the tasks and things that I need to do, whether it's for freelance work or for like personal projects, or any other kind of thing. And when it comes to appointments, it's usually digital, so I have it on my calendar, like Google Calendar, and I have my phone that reminds me, so I don't really need any of that. And besides these pages and sort of like some lots of notes pages for routines and things, I have like project pages. So I will write down notes for a project, like try to plan it out and sort of schedule those tasks. And they're mostly like freelance projects or like personal projects. And then I do keep some statistics, and then just planning related things. This is a productivity assessment that is from Miss Trenchcoat online. So she has a YouTube channel, and obviously lots of planner products, but she had like a little workshop where you can work through your own like productivity habits and things like that, and try to work out like what it is that you need help on or what you need to work on. So in terms of functional planning, I'm using the same kind of system, and my monthlies, I've already printed them all out. So I'm in December right now, but obviously 2022 I have them all ready already, because I also wrote all like the year long of dates and things like that, school schedule, all that kind of stuff, has already been in there. So the only thing that is certain in my lineup is this sort of functional planning, and I don't know if I will need a weekly. One of the reasons that I've always struggled with is that I love the Hobonichi planners, and they seem really well designed, and it's great that like a whole year fits in a book, but I don't need that level of detail, and I feel weird if I don't fill it all out. So like the Hobonichi cousin has monthlies, weeklies, and dailies, and that's just like way too much. But this year, let me show you. And I think I shared this before, but I bought a completely different planner that is sometimes considered like a Hobonichi dupe, I think. So this cover's from an Etsy shop that I saw, and so I bought it, but it's weird because the color is more like camel, and I thought that it was yellow. So it totally is not yellow. It's just the problem of like pictures that you see online when they don't really match the real life. And it's not horrible. It has like all these mega pen loops, and it's nice leather. It's well crafted and everything. It just wasn't as bright as I thought. I thought it was going to be like yellow bright. Anyways, it has my initials, but I put this new planner in here, which is sort of like a Hobonichi dupe, except that it only has monthlies, and you can see like it's very similar, but I think this is like the Chinese brand, the Kinbor brand. It has monthlies, but it definitely spreads it out, has like a lot of space, and then it has dailies. So I'm obviously not using this for planning. I'm using this for journaling and creative, like journaling as in writing Dear Diary style, as well as creative journaling as well. So this is what I'm going to use it for. I just really like the cover that had the little tiger and everything. It's so cute. So that is what I'm going to use this for. And you can see that I already started to decorate it. The Kimbor planners, they also have like the little instruction booklet, which is very similar to the Hobonichi that has like that. Every year they have a theme, so you can tell there's a lot of similarities. But I put a bunch of like stickers, and I can't remember the name of this illustrator, but it's like an Italian illustrator. Oh, why? Maybe it's, I think it's called Cute But Weird, and you can probably find her on Instagram. So these are a bunch of like introverted themed stickers, like introverted and okay with it, socially selective, I can't people today, how about no, give me space, I came, I saw, I left, not a fan of people, it's just a bad day, not a bad life, no small talk. And I mean, I'm definitely introverted, and I definitely need like me time, myself time. But when I'm in social situations, I'm, generally okay. At least I think I am. And I can definitely get very chatty and talkative as well. It's just the back and forth. Like you need all the things when you're like introverted, and you're not always needing people around you because that takes up a lot of your energy. So I like semi decorated this, but not really. And you can see here it has like 2021, 2022, which is bigger, and 2023 here, and it has like holidays, I think, which it's all in Chinese, so I can't really read it, but I could probably use like Google Translate. But since this is more of like a creative journaling or deco kind of calendar, or planner, like journal, I guess I can decorate over all of these things. When it comes to the yearly calendar, I don't know if you've seen, some people put like a sticker over it to represent the month, like as they pass by each month, or they'll write like one word to represent that particular month of the year. So that's like a fun thing that I can definitely do, or design like a little sticker that I'll put in it that I can write a word in. That's fun. But this page I can definitely just cover it up because I don't really need it in terms of like reference and things like that. And then they also have these overview pages, and you get a lot of space. So for 2021, I was using an A6 Hobonichi, and this A6 Hobonichi, I only write in it, like journaling. There might be some stickers, but it's like very minimal. It's mostly just writing. And you can see I turned it over itself right now because I'm at the very end. Like when you're in the last pages, I'm trying to make it even so it's easier to write. So I fold it over itself so it's even on both sides so I can still write. But you can see it's like literally, just journaling. So what I realize is that I do like the small size, and when it comes to just writing, the A6 page is obviously much more approachable. But then I also have like a gajillion other journals for my creative journaling habit, and it's just too much. Like I'm thinking that in 2022 I should pull back and make things simpler for myself, with the option of course, always using new journals if I want to, but not to give myself like the goal to finish so many, because that's just unrealistic. Which is why I'm basically going to consolidate everything into this one A5 Kimbor planner, which has, you know, the overview for the months, and then it has monthlies and it has dailies. So the monthlies, oftentimes I just put stickers in them. It would be cool to put like pictures, because I know a lot of people do that where they have a picture a day and they fill it in. Or even if you don't do a picture a day, it could be like a photo montage for the month. So you might put photos on certain days and then the other ones fill them in with stickers or deco or something like that. So that's a cool idea. I don't know if I want to do it because, you know, it's like, do I want to commit to that? Because I don't like having like 1 month a certain way and then like I give up and then the next month I'm doing something else. That would totally annoy me. If I want to do it, I want to make sure I do the whole year, because there's like the complete year to look at. But in terms of these overview pages, which spans through the whole year, and it, I think what it's meant to be is to put like important dates, right, or like future planning kind of things. But I think I might do self-portraits here, self-portraits, selfies, right? So oftentimes we don't take enough pictures of ourselves, at least that is for me. I'm always taking pictures of my kids more than anything. So to remind, I guess, to document myself and not be shy about that, I often put selfies for one for each month in this whole thing. And I guess it seems a little like self-centered, but I think it's really important to do that if you are often always focused on other people. So I take pictures of my kids and my husband, family, and then like when you're scrapbooking or you look back even at your camera roll, if you don't have pictures of yourself, it's like, oh my gosh, it's, you know, I know I'm behind the camera, but it's, you know, it's important to turn it around as well, so that you could document your, you know, path, journey, whatever you want to call it. What is with this blurriness? My light is getting like worse and worse. Sorry about that. But basically, that is the plan. Is this better? Oh, too bright. So selfies here, and then monthlies. I don't know. You can comment below if you want to help me out, but it would definitely look really cool if the monthlies had like snapshots that you put on different days. And of course, if you put a snapshot on this day, you can also use the next day to write something or label it, which would fill up the calendar more, because I doubt that I would have like a photo a day. I mean, I could, but you know, again, that's like pushing it, in terms of making it too difficult for one to, you know, the bar too high. I should set it lower. So I could put like pictures in, you know, certain places and then just deco the rest of it. So that would be really cute for the monthlies. Otherwise, my default was always to just use a sticker, either to represent the day or whatever I feel like, just because I really like stickers and those are things that I want to keep. Oh, so that was the thing I wanted to mention. My functional planner, I print out all these sheets and things like that, these inserts myself, and I don't write everything. I only write what I need for, like, you know, sorting things out in my brain, but I don't keep functional planners. I think that they're extremely boring and ugly, and I mean, maybe it would be interesting just for like historical documentation's sake to like keep one, but I'm certainly not going to keep like every single year. I just, again, that's why I don't deco my functional planners, because I'm not going to keep them. So in terms of all the stickers, it's always in my creative journal, because those are things I keep. So usually my monthly just has stickers. Like in my A6 Hobonichi, the monthly calendars are just all stickered up. Do I have examples here? Like, it's just all stickers. And whatever I feel like, and it might represent the day, it might not, it might just be deco, or favorite stickers that I want to keep and stuff like that. So I could do that, or I can do a mix of photos and that. I really like the look of photos, and I think Courtney Little Raven Ink, she definitely did that, or similar to someone else. And if you scroll on Instagram, a lot of people have done it, and it just looks really cool. I do not think I could commit to like a snapshot a day, but mixed ones and then deco around it would probably be possible. If not, I would default back to just stickers, which would make it a lot easier. And then in this, let's see, and then there's like a lot of planning pages, which this is called yearly plan, but of course I could use it for different purposes, visioning, or other types of documentation. Maybe these could be family snapshot photos. I don't know. Can I do one a month? And these are like bigger ones. I just deco. This is like plan of a new year. It's like, as you can see, it is very similar to like Hobonichi, but it does have a couple more extra pages, but it does not have extra months. Like the Hobonichi starts in like November, December. This one is literally just 2022. That's it. It doesn't have like extra, but it has these other pages. So then there's a start of the page for the month, and then it goes into dailies. So when it comes to dailies, when I said I was consolidating, is that I don't have a new Hobonichi A6 for 2022 because I'm going to combine it. Write a little snippet or whatever it is I feel like, and do creative journaling at the same time. And it's weird because in the past I used to separate it, because when it comes to like Dear Diary, I call it that because journaling. Dear Diary type of writing, or journaling, usually want to like keep it secret. Not like I have any secrets or anything so shocking that you can't read. And my journaling is actually, I would say, is quite abstract in the sense that I rarely, almost never write what it is I did that day. Like, it's not that kind of documentation in terms of like, today I had, we went to Disneyland, or, whatever, like we went on a trip or something happened in life. It's quite rare. Even if something did happen, I'm usually journaling about my thoughts about it. So, I want to say like philosophical pondering, that kind of thing, but it's not that, cool. But that's the style that it is. And so really, it's not like it's personal, but not personal as in like a review of my day kind of thing, which I think is really cool when you see other people do it. It just doesn't come naturally to me. I'm much more like in my head in the clouds and thinking about a topic or something. I could be reading a book, watching a movie, watching the news, whatever, and then like it's related to what I'm watching or triggered by something that I saw, but then I go off into my thoughts, like theorizing about stuff, and that's what I'm journaling about. And I realize that there's no need to really keep it separate or secret. Maybe it's because I've changed, like with the years growing up and just not caring anymore. Not like anyone is even looking at my stuff. And even that idea of maybe you don't want to post it on social media, or you would be wary of like if you had to take a picture and if people would read it. I think I don't care anymore. Like, it just doesn't even phase me. So I guess maybe I've moved on from that, and so there's no need for me to separate things. And again, for 2022, I'm trying to consolidate, trying to make it easy for myself. So if I have my functional planner and I have this one creative journal that is the thing that I'm going to do daily and finish, then by the end of the year, I'm going to have like a complete, creative journal with just a mix of everything that is perhaps a better reflection of my life than trying to compartmentalize like writing here and, fancy, vintage collage here, and, trying to get over the fact of one journal has to be only one thing, because I definitely, gravitate towards that. Like, I like the fact that one journal is like all one style and very cohesive, and elements running through it, and I use the same supplies in that one journal because I want to finish it that way. I'm trying to break out of that and just be a little bit more free, and giving myself more opportunity to do whatever I feel like, and making it easier, to finish also, because there's that satisfaction when you finish like a whole year long journal. Definitely good. So So this has monthlies, it has dailies, and I will be going through the daily. By the way, if you are wondering the difference with Hobonichi, the Hobonichi cousin also has weeklies, and this does not have weeklies. And this also saves a lot of room in terms of like the calendar is really small. There's no quote. There's only one quote, I think, for each month, and it's like tiny, tiny, Chinese like phrase kind of thing here. But you have so much space. So even though it's A5 sized, the same, everything is a little bit more condensed, so you have a lot of more like blank space. Even though I realize that a lot of people who use the Hobonichi for creative journaling, they end up just covering everything anyways. They're putting like washi tape over the quotes and all that kind of stuff, which is why I wanted to try this new journal, Kimbor Planner, just to see the difference. And did I write on it? I did write. Ooh, like personal information, but I did write on it to test, and it was fine with like a fountain pen. And then I guess I did decorate the back. Because I did a washi dashboard, even though I realized I had to slip this in, so it was like half covered. But I can do another one here too. Actually, I don't know. I always get these like front pages that are like stuck to the lining page. I always find them odd, and I don't know what to do with them, but I don't know. I'll think of some deco for that. So these two books are basically the only constant, only sure thing: functional planner, homemade, and this Kimbor planner for creative journaling. That is this like the shortest 2022 planner and journal lineup of all time? Yes, but those are just the things that I am committing to finishing, because I'm pretty sure like my planning system, if you can call it that, will not change, so it's fine. It will just go on. And then this is the one book, like the one book that I will finish and will combine sort of everything. But of course, I have a gajillion other journals, and this is where the uncertainty and the doubt comes in, because I'm sure at some point I might get bored and be like, no, I need more, or it's not enough to just do that one A5 page. So I think I've shown this before. I have this Webster's Pages like bullet journal that I've already started, and maybe it's about like halfway filled up, but it's I don't journal in a linear fashion. So sometimes I will put stuff in like later pages. This is like, my daughter gives me a lot of stuff, so I always have to put them in my journals. And she also checks me. Like if I don't use the things that she gives me, she'll be like offended. So I definitely have a lot of that kind of ephemera to put in, even though I don't have much like travel ephemera these days because we're not really going anywhere. And I've also changed the way that I collect ephemera. I used to like keep all the handouts and museum brochures and things like that like in full, and they're just like so bulky and crazy. Nowadays, I guess I've moved on. I will literally like rip them apart and only keep like one little snippet that I actually like or want to include. So I've definitely become a little bit more selective, and in curating my things. But as you can see, I still have an amazingly fat journal. So I have this journal in progress, and I hope to finish it. So even though I'm not like committing, it's near. Like I think all these are filled up. So you know, it's like, and these are like half filled up because I don't journal linearly. I sometimes will flip to a blank page and just slap something on it because I felt like it. So to finish this probably wouldn't take that much more time. So this is like my surplus creative journal, because this is very much like printouts from Instagram. Like if I really really like the post and I want to keep it. There's also pictures. There's my kids drawing ephemera, sometimes stickers. Definitely use a lot of printable papers, like this floral is a printable paper that I posted on my Patreon. It's a picture of my dog and like just random deco. So I do, it's like a big mix, and like quotes, just anything. But definitely very like clean in terms of like, okay, maybe not always, but it, I would say that it's pretty simple because it's very like linear, and just simple like scraps of paper and things like that. So I will continue with this for sure and hopefully finish it so that I can archive it because it's just too fat. Like I know a lot of people really love having giant um, journals that are like bursting, and yeah, I get it, but at the same time, it sort of bothers me, like it's unwieldy. I don't carry my journals around with me necessarily, so it's not because of like portability or anything. It just gets crazy, in terms of like storage and stuff. But so this is an extra one of my extra journals. Another one would be, I might have shared this again too. This is a handmade journal with like a floppy leather cover with Florentine paper lining and pretty thick, like 160 gram paper inside, so it's pretty thick, because I often write with like, where do I have, like with giant brush pen, so it won't bleed through because of the fact that it has such a giant, such thick paper. But this basically became a journal for a class that I was taking, a maths class. What is it? Make Art That Sells by Lila Rogers. So I was taking the class and I just decided to start a journal to like take notes for the class. So it was, just notes going through the lessons of that class. And then there was like another class, and it's sort of like you're doing the activities and the things like that as you go along. And she provides like printables and things like that too, but I sort of combined it and put it in this journal to like keep it in one place. So it's journaling thoughts, it's answering like the prompts and the questions that are part of the e-course. It's sort of like doodling and just like random things related and taking notes. Just a huge mix. So this class was about, artists and learning about finances and money and that kind of thing. So a lot of like journaling prompts. You see, if you only had 6 months to live, So I put this all in this journal to sort of keep it all in one place. And then I decided to just keep putting in like related career type e-courses to keep filling this journal up with that. So that's what this journal basically is. And it's mostly like Lila Rogers classes, but then I have also, what is it? Just recently, this Elisa Burke e-course that's called Business Brave, where she has like 12 videos to just sort of like pep talk you. So I was documenting like the lessons learned from the 12 lessons, and then I'm gonna fill up with like art and things like that after the fact. And for the remaining, I probably have enough to do like 2 more courses or something. But I'm going to keep with this like theme journal. The next one is there's the Lila Rogers book, and probably take notes on like other related courses of things I want to keep in mind when it comes to like business, like creative business and that kind of thing. So this journal is just going to continue. Obviously, not something that can necessarily be finished in a certain amount of time. It'll just continue because it's like what I call a themed journal, because I often compartmentalize. Like I'll be like, oh, I'm going to use this journal for like this XYZ course or this challenge or this project. So that's why I have so many journals. So this one will continue. And I should also mention, when it comes to stream of consciousness writing, I'm still using this, which is a throwaway journal. So these are, I don't know, it's from Oh Dear. It's just a regular like lined notebook, like nothing special whatsoever. I use like a ballpoint pen in it. Any kind of stream of consciousness, like brain dump type of writing, morning pages, which I don't do every day, but whenever I need to, I guess, that's what I do in here. And it's extremely messy and probably not even readable at the end of the day, but that's because I just toss all of these. I don't keep them. They're not meant to be read again. And of course, you can like go on your computer and type morning pages and then just delete it like it's no big deal, right? It's sort of like when you're word vomiting at your friend, because you need to do that to like let go of stuff and let go of steam, but you would feel bad for your friend, so you can just do it to a notebook. And then at the end, you can just destroy it, burn it, whatever. It might feel good. Some people like do this kind of writing and then they'll like art journal over it. They'll paint over all the pages, like gesso over, and like do things over it. So it can definitely be creatively satisfying if you do it that way. But my point is that they're just morning pages type of thing whenever I need to in a cheapy notebook that will eventually just get destroyed, thrown away, not to be kept. So that's another thing. And then let me share this. I think I've shared this before. Another handmade journal that I made. This is, again, scrap leather that the inside lining is like watercolor paper to make it just like a little bit stronger, even though it is floppy. And then there's 160 gram like white paper. So this is an A5 journal. I made this specifically with exactly 100 pages because this was for my 100-day project this past year, which I did complete, but I didn't complete it completely. Does that make sense? 100 blooms on paper. I was supposed to post this, but I really didn't really post it on Instagram because I didn't take like daily pictures and stuff. I find it very difficult to keep up with challenges of like posting pictures because I don't have a great camera, and like I don't like the pictures in the end, so it's just annoying. But I mean, I did it in terms of the challenge myself. So what I did was I wrote down the names of like 100 different flowers, and at first they were like really normal flowers like chrysanthemum, plum blossom, azalea, carnations, like that kind of stuff. But then in the end they started getting weird, like lollipop plant, because I was looking for like funky flowers like that I could draw, and it definitely got really specific. But it's basically a very loose, like not realistic drawing, sketch, whatever you want to call it, of flowers. And at first it wasn't as loose that I want it to be. Like I want it to be like almost like Chinese brush painting kind of thing, even though I don't have a Chinese, brush that I'm using. But to begin with, it was still pretty tight because I'm like trying to draw what I see rather than just being more free with it. And let me see if I can find the pens. Do I have them in here? Oh, this is the brush pen. Whoa, did I leave this? Okay, this is like, you can see like it's a brush tip pen. I didn't use that at first though. I was using the old Hobonichi. I don't know if it's here. Is it here? No, I don't have it here, so I don't know where it is. But the Fude pen that came with the 2020 Hobonichis, so it had like a more like felt tip kind of pen, or tip. So that was what I was doing to begin with. And then at some point I changed over to this brush pen. It must have been like before this, to be able to do these like giant sort of like Chinese brush painting kind of lines. And that was what I was really intrigued by. Like I was like, so cool, and I should use a paintbrush, right, if I wanted to do that. But I like pens because they're just easier to access, like faster. You don't have to clean up anything. Like if you like watercolor, although watercolor is probably quote unquote cleaner than using acrylics or oils or something that you have to prepare, I just don't. I need to be able to like leave things, if my kids are calling me or something like that. So I just like pens so much more. But yeah, I really love the organic, like natural look of doing marks in this way. It's so cool. But I don't remember where did I switch over, but you can tell from the lines that, oh wait, even here, how did I do that? Oh, here, it says I was using the Pentel sign pen, which is the one that, like from this page for only the first 10. And then afterwards I switched to this Pentel brush pen, and I don't know if there's like a specific name, but it says Pentel GFKP here. So whatever, it's the brush pen. So from then onward, I only use the brush pen. So it was supposed to be looser. Note I say supposed to because these were like 2 minute, sketches or something like that. Like I made it really easy for myself to get through. And of course, there are days where it's like horrendous and not very, you know, doesn't make me proud, is what I mean. And then there are days where it's like, oh, I really like that. And so the first part of the challenge was okay in that I did the 100 days, sketches according to whatever I wrote down here. But what I wanted to do the challenge again, like another 100 days, but I couldn't get through it because it was too fast for me. Because what I wanted to do was then digitize each flower that I sketched. So digitize as in not like necessarily scan in the exact one, but just draw it again like digitally, or however it is I wanted to do it, and create a repeat pattern and color, So I did it for some of them because some of the flowers, like I obviously didn't go in order because some of the flowers I already had drawn before, or maybe I had something digital and I wanted to make it into a pattern. So I do have some of them done, but my thought was to basically go through all 100 and do all and fill them all with patterns and like washi tape the final, finished repeat pattern on here. And obviously I did not get through it because there was no way I could do this every single day for 100 days. It was like beyond the amount of time that I had. So I thought, okay, I don't need to do it like every day. I can do it one pattern a week, or some other schedule, and still fell out of it and never got through it. So now this journal has just been sitting there as another one of those things where it's like, good idea, I wish I could do it, but it's just there and I haven't done it yet. So this is another theme journal that is on my list of like things to complete. And I don't know why, like I still think it's a cool idea, but obviously I'm not motivated enough to like necessarily do it. So I don't know. I always struggle with this thing of, if you feel this huge resistance to doing something, does that mean like the universe is telling you you don't need to do it? Like it's just not even that important. Obviously, there's so many other priorities in life. This is just like a creative challenge. You can also do a different creative challenge to hone your skills or go along with your creative hobby. I don't know. And of course, there are those people who say, no, you need to work on it. Like that's, if you feel the resistance, that's exactly when you should, go at it head on, to sort of overcome those resistances and like get stronger, that kind of thing. So I vacillate between like the two sides. I get the 2 points. There's just so many things as always, and I get overwhelmed and then I just end up not doing anything. But my hope is to be able to do this and finish this at some point, because it would be so cool to have a whole journal where like I have the sketch that I was like quote unquote working on it, and then I will also have the final digital version drawn up and different variations and maybe like a pattern drawn up as well, and that would be so cool. So this is my 100-day journal. 100, what did I call it? 100 blooms on paper. And I guess if I print it out digitally, it will still be on paper. So that is my hope for this journal, this themed blooms journal. It's on my list. Again, I have all these like theme journals or extra journals that are on my list, and I don't know if I can say that it's like 2022 because I doubt I will be able to finish. Obviously I will not be able to finish all of these journals in 2022, no matter how much I want to, because it's just so much. But it's on my list of like things I would like to do, and wish I could finish. So another doodle drawing illustration kind of journal that I have was this. It's a Hobonichi cover, but it's just the A6 notebook, the blank one. And I originally started this like as random, like I didn't know what I was gonna do, but then I had that brush pen and I decided to join in. This was in 2020. All these like illustration challenges on IG, which were fun, but I just realized like just doing challenges will take up like a whole chunk of your time, then you're not doing any of your other creative things that you want to do. But I did all of these. So what I had done was actually just, I did like these doodle a day kind of things. And so this whole journal is filled with these. Okay, there's some of my kids' art as well, but it's filled with just like simple doodles. I like this one, so cute, Amampier. But I thought that I would go through and actually use the back of the paper as well, because this is Tomoe River paper. So even though there's like, you can see it, there's ghosting, but it's not going to bleed through. So you totally can use the back. But then I thought, if I do that, then I wouldn't be able to scan it things in very well. I don't know. Should I, or should I just leave it as is? Maybe I should just leave it as is and move on. Because this is one of the things where like I feel like I want to use the journal more, so I don't want to like put it away, but maybe I should just archive it because it's no big deal. Obviously you can just buy another one of these journals and put it in here. But again, because I'm trying to combine everything in this my 2022 creative journal that I'm using as a creative journal, obviously I can do doodles in here too. Don't need it to be like a separate themed journal, right? So I don't know. Again, I'm trying to simplify things for myself. So help me out if you have thoughts. Obviously this started because it was like October, it was for Inktober, which, you know, a lot of people do start like a new sketchbook or something like that for a particular challenge. So it's not totally weird, but I still have this. But I totally could take out this journal and use the cover for something else rather than, you know, just archiving it like this. I feel like it's a waste, you know, for the pretty cover that it is. Another journal that I have, theme journal, is this Moon Journal. And this is a notebook therapy bullet journal. I don't remember if there's a particular name for this one, but it's really, really pretty. There probably is, because they have lots of different theme journals. But the journals are pretty good. Like, they're pretty well made. The cover's really thick and stuff like that, but it's not, I wouldn't say that the paper is like, I mean, it's for bullet journaling. So it's thick enough that things will not bleed over. So what I used this for, why I started, it's the Suki Moonflower edition, this particular design. But you can see I covered it up because the gold foiling was a little messed up when I received this journal, so I just covered it up. They actually sent me a new one, but because I was starting an e-course, I wanted to start using it, so I just covered it up with stickers, which made it more themed anyways, because it was all about the moon. And I started, my moon journaling kind of stuff. It was like tracking the moon and your moods and all that kind of stuff, and learning about the phases of the moon and what they mean, and doing journaling. So that's what I started doing in this. But then after the course was over, I was like, okay, am I gonna do more moon journaling, or should I switch this and make it like tarot cards or something like I definitely want to do something that is in the same theme, because I think it just goes with the whole journal. But again, this is another one of my theme journals that I started and have not gone anywhere, because I spend all this time analyzing like what it is I should do in it. And then like don't just dive in, because I'm so caught up with wanting it to be like consistent or have a certain style or look, that I'm not just like diving in and doing whatever. But it says La Luna, which means moon, so it makes sense that I would continue with a lot of like anything related to the moon or that kind of thing. And you know, being a female that menstruates, like a lot of people do like tracking with their cycle and the lunar cycle and moods and things like that. So it is very interesting to me, and I definitely want to learn more about that kind of stuff. But again, it's very haphazard. Like if I don't have a e-course or something that I'm taking to guide me, I spend my time like pondering and thinking and, you know, doing random research, but then I don't actually I'm not actually using my journal. So I really need to figure something out and do something with this because it's a beautiful journal. Um, and with nice paper, you can use your fountain pens. Uh, I really want to use it. And so, by the way, when I made this order, I had ordered another journal as well. Why? Because it was pretty. But again, what am I going to use that journal for? So I actually have another another of this journal exactly because they sent me a replacement and it's completely blank. And I also have the brown one that has like a pretty little deer in the center. So I have plenty of blank journals to use. If you have ideas, let me know. But if you actually have something, is there like a good book or e-course? Well, maybe I don't think I want to do another e-course, but if it's like a book and I could read the book and learn about the moon and then take notes, like that would be fun. Or any kind of workbook or something like that. That would be cool. If you have suggestions, definitely let me know because I would be interested. Just to obviously, I'm interested in the subject in itself, but just to like use this journal as well, I would be interested. So that's another journal. And another thing I wanted to note, I come from the scrapbooking world. Basically, I liked scrapbooking and card making even before I became a mom, but when I had my kids, that's when I definitely went into like the traditional scrapbooking hobby. And I have lots of scrapbooks in varying sizes. I also have printed photo books. And then as my kids got older, I switched a little bit and I started using my like Happy Planner discs because I don't use Happy Planner as a planner. I have a lot of like the notebooks, recipe books, like that kind of thing, but I don't use it as a planner because I don't like Sunday start. I don't like the way their months are laid out, like all those kinds of issues. I've definitely, even though I'm American, I live in Italy, so I am in the European like setup, like style. I like Monday starts for the monthly calendar and for weeklies. That's just how my brain works. If I see a calendar in a different way, it like totally throws me off. I like the weekends grouped together. Anyway, so I was saying that my documentation. Do I have that? So I put photos in this sort of like happy notes or happy planner notes. What do you call them? They're like I print photos and I do it this way. And I really should just make a photo book, but it's not as real time as just like printing, um, you know, 4x6 photos and slapping them in. And there usually isn't much decoration. Oftentimes I just put the date and really nothing else because I sort of fallen out of the extremely decorative scrapbooking. Um, it's not that I don't like it, but because I enjoy other types of like stationary creative journaling, I guess I no longer look to the scrapbooking for that type of creative enjoyment. So it is purely for the sake of like just documenting, like curating photos that I want to put together, which this, like my kids can flip through it and, revisit our memories for the year, like that kind of thing. So that's what I have been doing. But moving forward, I sort of want to just pop all of those photos into like a photo book. And it would be so much faster. Right? Like, don't you just like upload them and they'll print you a photo book? I used to design them myself, like, because I have the software and my freelance job is graphic designer, so I can do all of that, but obviously you're spending a lot of time. Nowadays, you can just like upload them and they'll like format them into some template book and they could probably even put the dates on it and you'll have a whole book of like the snapshot of like a year in your life, even if it's just like a photo a week, or special occasions or whatever. Like, it's, I feel ambivalent about it because we are in such a digital age now. Oftentimes people think of their Instagram feeds or Facebook feeds or whatever as like digital scrapbooking, which it is, right? And it's very much a reflection of your day-to-day life and your family and that kind of thing, your friends, if you post that kind of content. And I know that there are books where it'll just like pull from your Instagram account and like print you out that, like print you out a book. And the reason like I I like the analog form. Like, I don't like to keep it just as digital because there's just something different about sitting down on the couch with your family or your kids and flipping through a book. And I find with relatives and friends, when they come over to your house, obviously they're much more willing to flip through a book that you have and talk about, you know, maybe a vacation or your lives and things like that and updates than you know, going through a digital feed or something like that. Like, you sort of need both and they serve different purposes. I don't know, tell me what you think about that kind of thing. It's something that I definitely think about a lot. And I sort of, again, I'm in the middle, I'm indecisive. This is why it's called a doubtful Techo Kaigi, because I really don't know what it is I want to do, and I don't want to give myself too many like goals and things like that to be like, no, I must make a photo book for the family. Then I'll feel like that pressure of needing to make it and having it ready so everybody can, you know, look through it over the new year. I used to do that, and again, it's the sad thing of I used to do that when my kids, like when they were a 1 year old, when they were a 2 year old, then I had another kid, and then it started like my habits fell off from that because there was just less time, and of course nobody is like reprimanding me or anything. But I used to be the one that took the most pictures and made the photo books. Now it's just sort of like everyone is lazy and nobody in the family does it. But I still do it for, you know, documentation purposes for the future. But I'm stuck in the middle of like what I want to do for 2022. Once I finish for 2021, and it's limited, I haven't been printing a lot. I mean, my kids are a little bit older and like, you know, things just are different. But I don't know what I want to do for like memory keeping, that type of documentation. And I don't know what you guys do. I'm totally obsessed with watching like planner lineups, journal lineups, you know, Techo Kaigi kind of videos. So I definitely binge on YouTube because I'm always looking for ideas of like what might work for me, or like a cool idea that it just piques my interest and would motivate me. But yeah, I'm stuck in I don't know what I want to do. And I like to have the years, you know, and maybe I might go back. Obviously, I have all the digital photos. They're in my, you know, my hard drives, like, and saved up. But having to go through like years and years and years of photos, it might not seem that much, but it's crazy. And I've done it before because I've done some like roundup photo books for like family or relatives. It takes so much time. It's a huge job, but satisfying, but a huge job. So another theme journal. Yes, I'm continuing because I am nowhere near complete. Another journal that I have was like I think an Oh Dear notebook. Yeah, from Art House and Oh Dear collaboration. It was part of like a stationery box that I got, and it was so colorful, happy, and somehow I don't know when this started, like during COVID maybe or something. I just decided to use this to document like Netflix binging. And it started with Netflix binging, but then it became like K dramas, and I watched so many. It was so crazy. I often watch while I'm doing other stuff, and especially when you're doing like sort of like mindless housework or like ironing. Oh my god, ironing is like the bane of my existence. I hate ironing, but you have to do it. So it started with that, and then like anime, and then I started also, like at first it was through Netflix, but then I realized if you go online, there's so much that is available that you can watch also for free, and I totally fell down the K drama hole, and also the anime, and then I started also, where did I get up? I started reading as well, and I don't know how many of you are into reading manga online or web novels. There's like a whole world that you can fall into. Again, if you're not looking for something to eat up your time, don't look into it. But if you do like that kind of thing, and sometimes it seems like it's for people who read romance novels, because there definitely are a lot of like on the romance side, but there's also a lot on like the martial arts or fighting, or like futuristic, like there's all the genres. And I don't know if it comes from other cultures. Obviously, many of these are translated books, like translated Korean, like mangas or novels and stuff. So I started, I don't know how I got hooked into this. Like I saw an Instagram snippet maybe or something, and it was like a manga, but then I realized the manga like stopped at a like very few chapters because it's actually a web novel that you could go read the translation. And when you read translations, you have to make sure you get a good translation, otherwise like the English is horrible and it doesn't make any sense, because someone's using like a robot to translate it. But when it's actually translated by like readers, it'll make much more sense. So you're just reading like a fantasy novel, and this actually has a lot of what do you call it? Like it has adult stuff in it as well. But if you were to take away all of that part of it, the story itself is like a great fantasy novel, at least to me. And so I just fell into the hole of reading so many of those, like hundreds of chapters. I mean, the chapters are short, but just flying through these like graphic web novels. I don't know what you call them. And of course, many of them are also unfinished. So you have to wait for the translation, or maybe it's ongoing. And again, I don't know all the details, but from what I know, like the authors, many of them are still in the process of writing. And I'm assuming this must be something that's really big in like Asian culture, where someone's like a writer or an artist of a manga or something, and it's like online, and they're like doing it weekly, so you're following them and reading it. And oftentimes these things, they get made into like movies and things like that. And I don't have I guess I stopped here because I didn't print out more. But there is, what is it called? Remarried Empress is like a Korean web novel, or translated anyways, that you can read, and it's ongoing, and it got picked up, and it's going to be made into a K-drama. So I think a lot of like webtoons, manga, whatever, they get made into K-dramas and things like that. So anyways, I fell down that hole. So this was documenting all of that. And now I realize like I'm still finishing a couple, but once I get to like a certain point, I can like pause a little bit. But really, I read them when often like it's on my phone, and usually it's all that waiting time that I'm using to read these. So like you're waiting to pick up your kids, or you're waiting in line somewhere. So instead of scrolling on Instagram, which is what I used to do, I'm reading like manga and web novels and things like that. Oftentimes when I'm walking my dog, I'm reading them as well. Hello, thank you for joining. Yeah, I just wanted to stream at a different time, and I've been like chattering away madly about my planners and journals and the things that are certain that I'm using, and all the other ones that are part of my collection that are like midway, that I obviously will not finish even in 2022, but looking for ideas. And I'm definitely going to I'm not going to go through all of my journals because that's impossible. There are like so many, and I have like a whole bunch off across the room and like another shelf that are like to be. But so far I've gone through just even these, and obviously Hobonichi, and the other journals that I've made myself, and journals that I have. Oh, and the other one I wanted to share that I also did not finish in 2021 was my Johann. This is supposed to be a planner, right? But the reason why I bought it is because it's a planner in like this block style, and it's actually undated, but I used all of my Himikuri stickers in here, which was actually a mistake, because if you pre-sticker all your pages, then you're gonna have all these like bumps in the same location, so that probably wasn't smart. The Himikuri stickers, they're like dated calendar stickers. They're great if you have like, I think anyways, if you have a blank notebook, and you should put them in like different locations so your notebook doesn't get like stacked up on one particular part. But I think it would be great for that, because they're pretty pricey. So you really shouldn't I shouldn't say waste. It's not a waste. It's pretty, but I realized I wouldn't use it for the same purpose in the future. Anyway, so I bought this planner because I was using it as a doodle diary, basically. So in the beginning, you can see I started, in the beginning of 2021, I was diligent because, I was like, ooh, doodle diary, so fun. And it was like, and I really liked all the Johann illustrations. So it was like inspiring, and just started doodling all kinds of things. And this is like a mark making doodle, inventory, I guess. And then what I did was just, the monthlies are all blank because I didn't Didn't know what I wanted to do, so I just skipped them. But I did the dailies, where like each day I would just do a cute little doodle, and I lasted for quite a while. Again, monthly's blank, and just sort of kept going. And of course, some days are like amazingly boring, but some days I would create something I really like, and that might like become into something more like digitally, or expand it, you know. But obviously I got stuck at some point and stopped, and so I fell off the bandwagon, in what is this, August, which I guess it's not that bad, but I stopped basically. So all of these are blank. So I obviously need to finish this, and oh, I guess I don't know. I must have jumped around. Um, Oh, because I was doing like Halloween themed stuff. So I jumped into October just to, when I had realized how behind I was, it was in October. So I did some in October, and then now I'm like back to blank. So definitely want to finish this just to like practice doodling and stuff. But then I thought for next year, because these are undated, and it doesn't even matter if they're dated or not dated because these are just doodles. It has nothing to do with planning. Um, Maybe I can go through next year and just fill in a tiny, tiny little doodle for every single month. So I can reuse this for 2022 and just keep up with the doodle habit, um, and see what happens. So if you're just joining now, yeah, I have been chattering for like an hour about all kinds of things. In terms of planner, like the only thing that I've certain is my homemade planner, which is completely functional, which is just a monthly and notes page, and I print my own inserts. And the reason why is because I'm a freelancer and stay-at-home mom, so anything that is like appointment related is digital, and then I'm just writing down tasks and stuff. I don't really feel the need to be like super scheduled in terms of what I'm going to do like by the hour, and anything that I already know that I'm gonna do, I usually don't write it down. Like I don't write down laundry, do dishes, and cross it out. I know some people do that and it's fine. I just don't do it. I'm minimal, because it's literally just for like I like seeing the monthly calendar to not be overwhelmed and have it clear in my mind. So, and I do have like some goals pages and obviously reference like type of lists. So it's sort of like bullet journaling, but not, because I'm not into the bullet journaling. Like it makes me want to do pretty stuff, and then it's just a waste of time because I don't actually want to keep any of this stuff. It's just for functional purposes. So I'm going to continue with my printable inserts the way that I've been doing as always, and have no problems with that. And the only other thing that is certain besides that planner is this year I bought a Kimbor planner. And it's sort of like a Hobonichi dupe, I want to say, because it's very similar, in terms of like the overviews. They have monthlies and then they have dailies, but there are no weeklies. And that's actually better for me because I would never be able to finish like that kind of thing. But I'm not using this as a planner, I'm using this as a creative journal. So it has like, I can do, monthly overviews and then just a page a day. And I used to have an A6 Hobonichi that I only did journaling in, and then, but this year in 2020, I just want to keep it simple. So I have my functional planner, and then I have this creative journal. And everything else is like in the air, I don't know. So here I can do, straight journaling if I want, just like I've been doing in the past, which is literally just, I sticker up the months, but then the journaling itself is just, journaling. So I can do that, or I can do pretty spreads, whatever, like just mix it. So these two are the only things that are certain. Everything else that I have is a journal and for fun. So, I don't want to give myself like the expectation like I have to finish anything in 2022, because the thing with dated planners is that obviously they motivate you to finish because it's for that year. But again, I just have that one, and that's it. Everything else is going to be like themed along the way. Obviously I want to finish it, but I just can't obviously I don't know if I can commit to anything. Um, and so when it comes to weeklies, the reason I don't use weeklies is that when it comes to home stuff, I do have a monthly home calendar downstairs by the kitchen, which is like meal planning, my kids kind of thing. And again, nothing that I would keep. It's just like to be used and like writing down, jotting down notes, sort of like your home command center kind of thing. Um, when it comes to work, I don't need such a complicated planner or anything like that because I guess it's not that things just don't, like, I'm not missing any appointments or anything like that, so I don't feel the need to have to change anything in terms of functional planning. But if things do get crazy or I feel overwhelmed, I have those weekly planner tear off like pad sheets, whatever you call them. So if there's a certain week where I need to plan more, I would just use that pad and that tear off sheet like for a week and, do what I need to do. And I like it so much more that way. I think it's probably because also with kids, like in the summertime, June, like half of June, and then July, August, and half of September, my kids are not in school because that's how the Italian school system works here. All of those months, I I would not write anything. Like if I had a dated planner and had to like plan things out, it would just be crazy because I have like no normal routine. I'm out with the kids, or we're on vacation, or we're visiting my family in the US and we're like traveling. Obviously, I don't know if we're going to do that this coming month. We haven't in the past year, obviously. But that's how it would be because I always feel like I'm just wasting, dated planners in that way, which is why I always use printable inserts because then I just use what I need and I don't print what I don't need. So when it comes to dated, it really is like a personal motivation, like creative journaling. I do like it to be dated because it forces you to like do that daily reflection and a little bit of like creative me time. But again, I only have one because I don't think I could commit to more than one. Um, and of course, I'm totally lying because I just said, like, can I use this doodle one? Maybe I should go through and use the blank months for 2022 and just fill in little doodles. And obviously, this could be like 1 minute, right? Like, if you wanted to make it a creative habit, it's not going to take that much longer. Um, but do I want to commit myself to that is the question. Um, Another journal that I have is this homemade, like hardcover A6 sized journal that I made, and I sort of couldn't abandon it because I made it, and so I want to use it for something, even though I have like absolutely no reason to have another journal. But I just like the fact that I was able to make a hardcover journal. So this actually has Tomoe River paper in it. And I just liked it because it was super thin. Like the thing with Tomoe River paper is that it's super thin, so you could fit like, you know, I don't know how many pages there are in this, but it could be like each signature probably has 8, so it's like 8, 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like a lot, in this one little notebook. So it caters to like a weekly habit or a daily habit kind of thing. But I have like random collages in this that I started because this was like a random, again, another one of those random journals where it's like I want a smaller page to do something, so I would go to this. But of course, I'm not anywhere close to using this, so it's just another one of my half-finished journals that's sitting there waiting to be loved. And of course, I also have an A6. I have an A6. No, it's not A6. What is it called? Pocket-sized traveler's journal, and that's in my purse, which is completely, again, functional. It has like random inserts and stickers and things because when I'm out with my kids, sometimes they might like want paper to write in and they'll use it, or I'll take a note, or collect ephemera and like stick it in there. And that is a transitionary sort of notebook insert that I use in my purse because then when I get home, I get the stuff where I rip out the page and I put it in my actual creative journal. But I do have a regular standard size traveler's notebook, and this was supposed to be for actual traveling, but I'm completely behind and have never started. So I wrote like lists of things of like, remember to document all these different places that I've been to. And it was basically just for Italian journaling because even though I live here in Italy, obviously I am a foreigner because I come from America, and every place that I go to, like every town, I want to document it, but I'm just obviously completely behind. I am horrible when it comes to real time journaling. I can't do it. I know that's what the traveler's notebook is supposed to be, right? But I can't do it. I don't know why I can't sit down and do that kind of like cafe journaling that people do. I've tried. I think I did it for like my 30th birthday or something like that, where I did like journal along the way. But I just find it to be not what I want to do. Like when I'm traveling, I'm immersed in like the traveling, and I will collect ephemera and I'll like stick it in, but I won't be like sitting there and like let me write some thoughts. I'd rather be sitting there like not doing anything, you know what I mean, and soaking up nature. So it's just, I guess it's just not in my nature. But I do have a list of like all these cities and like what I want to journal afterwards. But it's gonna be so much, like it's the kind of thing where like, and I know that it's okay to be behind. Like there's no way that you can ever document your entire life, continually. That's crazy. You're like living your life. But I it's when you get so behind that it just seems like it's too far off and you're just never gonna catch up. So it's like, what's the point of even starting? Like that's the way that I feel about it. But my traveler's notebook, that's what I wanted to use it for. Like all the inserts would be like, I don't know if I could do an insert a city. Like some of the cities are, Florence. We live like 40 minutes from Florence, 40 minutes from Pisa. So those are the biggest cities close to us that would have a lot of documentation because we've been to so many places. Like it's not just the touristy, like big monuments and that's it. We've been to so many places because they're sort of like the big cities near where we live. Whereas the other cities, like, Orbitello, Orvieto, San Marino, obviously, Venice, Bologna, all those other places, I would have like the tourist impression of it. So I want to document that either in inserts or along the way, and it would be a good documentation also of like all the places that I've been. Actually, I just thought of that now. I should print out like a, how do you say, like a map of Italy and like map out all the places that I've been to. That would be really cool. But yeah, it's the kind of thing where I feel so behind that I don't even want to start, which is like doesn't make any sense. Do I make any sense? I don't make any sense. So my lineup is not really a lineup. I mean, in terms of planner, there's only just my printable planner. Then I have my creative journal for 2022, and then I have a gajillion other journals that I don't know what to do with, and maybe they're all in progress. I don't know. It's the kind of thing where like, this is why I said it was doubtful, or I don't know, because I just don't know what to do. Yes, I have the Johann. This is from last year, and it was my doodle journal. So I really like the block style, and I think any type of block style planner layout is great for like doodling, daily doodling, because it gives you that like square, So I didn't finish this, so I'm behind like a couple months that I should finish up. But then I have all the monthlies are blank. So for 2022, I technically can use this again and just do a smaller doodle, because that would probably be a lot more like possible than trying to do something giant. It's because I have too many things I want to do, and I set myself up for failure is what I do. Although I think most of us who love stationery and journaling, we all have like loads of journals, planners. What is it that like Kelly Love Letters always says? She's like the planner graveyard, because like you try things out and then maybe it doesn't work out as you expected, and then you set it aside for a future date that you don't know if you will actually use or not use. So that's sort of the phase that I'm in. I really don't know. I don't know about all of these secondary journals, or theme journals as I call it, like what I will do. In terms of this, I call it the Hobonichi dupe because I think that's what people refer to as. It's the Kinbor brand, and I think it's just the Chinese version. And I actually don't know that much history. I don't know which one came first or not, or maybe they were contemporary. But I mean, it looks suspiciously, you know, similar to to Hobonichi. They have the same little booklet, like when you buy one, and it's from AliExpress. And they have like the monthly overview, like future planning kind of things, and then they have the monthlies. They don't give you extra months before or after. It's only just that year, and then there are more pages for like sort of yearly planning, and like at the end they actually have a bunch of extra pages that are I have personal information. So the only thing I've written in here is my name and stuff with a Metropolitan um, what is it, Pilot Metropolitan fountain pen, and it definitely um, seems to perform similarly to Tomoe River paper. I don't think it's Tomoe River paper. I have no idea. It doesn't really tell you, but it seems very similar. Um, should I like compare it with? I have an A6, so what do I have this? It feels almost slightly thicker than the Hobonichi Tomoe River paper, but it's still amazingly thin. And in terms of writing, again, I'm not like a fountain pen enthusiast, and I don't know all the things. But to me, it seems very similar, and it's smooth, and there's no problems. There might be ghosting, but it does not bleed through, so it's like very comparable. And in terms of like those of us who do sort of more of like creative journaling and stuff, it doesn't even matter that much because we're not even like, you might not even be writing directly on the paper a lot of the times. So, so what I wanted to say that is the end of the Kimbor planner has all these like template pages that I don't know. I mean, it has like informational pages the way that Hobonichi has as well. I don't know what these are, like holidays maybe or something. It's all in Chinese, and obviously they have like, this says gourmet recommended, so I'm assuming it's something about food. But they also have a lot of like extra pages that are for like, I think this is supposed to track your traveling, and it says my world map, and it has a list of like, I think these are like travel items, so it's sort of like to help you plan traveling. And then it has another one, like one is of the world and one is of China, so I assume to track your traveling throughout the year. And then it has like the social relationship, which I thought was really funny. There's like some English, but then it's like in Chinese, so if you translate it you probably could understand. But I think it's funny, it's called the social relationship, but I think it's supposed to track gift giving, from what I was investigating. And then there's like the favorites spread of like, it could be a book, a movie, music, or a restaurant, and they have 2 pages for that. And then there's the 21-day plan, which I have no idea what it's for, but it gives you like 21 boxes, and I think it's supposed to be like, give yourself a habit challenge or something, because isn't 21 days supposed to help you form a habit or something? So to me it's like a template. You could like photocopy it and use it again and again, but I'm assuming they're saying like in 1 year maybe there's one season that you would do like this 21-day plan kind of thing. And then you also have a page for your schedule, like if you're obviously helps for people like who have a very set schedule, or like repeating recurring things, or like if you're in school, which is what I'm assuming it is. And then annual target, which I think is supposed to be like your yearly goals, and you're supposed to like log them. Oh, so I did do a test, see? So I had written like, this is my Pilot Metropolitan. I used like a crazy ass like giant marker, gel pens. I put like some stickers, but like as you can see, it does not bleed through even that crazy marker, which was like one of those, those really fat, like I don't remember the name, like Equaline or Aqualine, something, like calligraphy pens, and it totally did not bleed through. So I think it's very comparable in terms of like the paper is gonna hold up. Whether you prefer it or not is obviously another thing, but like it's not gonna bleed through. I think you would really have to like throw ink on it and like really go crazy to like really mess up the paper. And I didn't try watercolor, but I know some people, they do watercolor and that's when it gets crinkly. But like I said, to me, just from touching it, it seems like slightly more structured than the Tomoe River paper, which is like more, like much more thin and floppy. But a year fits in here because this only has dailies and monthlies, and it doesn't have weeklies. which again for me is better because I would never be able to fill up that many pages. But if you're looking for all three, you're obviously going to need the Hobonichi. And Kimbor actually has more options. Like sometimes it's hard to understand because you can't tell what's like in the actual planner one, but I believe that they've separated it. So you can get the monthly and daily, and then they have something that is sort of like the day free, so it has only the months, and then they have one that is only the weekly, I think. And I can't remember if it has like monthly and weekly, maybe, but it has weeklies like in vertical style. So they do have another one. I had gotten this one because I just wanted the monthly and dailies for like creative journaling, and I really like this cover, like super red in your face, but like so cute, totally for like Lunar New Year kind of thing. So I like that. But yeah, they have like just a couple extra pages for after the months. They have plan the new year, yearly plan. And this is like a yearly plan overview as opposed to this like future planning with like the list. So slightly different pages. And in terms of extra pages, they do have, how many pages do they have here? At the end of the year, it just goes from like January 1st to December 31st. Then it has like probably like 10 more pages of grid paper. And that's it. So given that I'm using it not for planning, for creative journaling, besides the dailies and monthlies, I have all these extra pages that I could do whatever I want. So there's like plenty, because you mostly be like covering up things anyways. But yeah, it's very comparable, and it has, I don't know if the people care, but it has rounded corners instead of like squarish. Actually, I think the Hobonichi has rounded as well, right? But it's not. The radius is smaller. Is that true or not true? I don't know. But yeah, and the quality of it and stuff is pretty good, at least for like this A5 sized one. It doesn't seem like anything is off or messed up in any way. This cover is really pretty like nice to touch. It's not leather or anything. I don't think so. It's, I don't know what it is, like faux something, but it has like this, just like touching it. And it is not the same as, let me touch it looks like it has the same pattern as the English version Hobonichi, like where it's like faux leather, right? But the Hobonichi one is much more like hard, like plasticky feeling, whereas this is like more, I guess it's supposed to be more like animal feeling, but I'm pretty sure it's not real leather, you know what I mean? It's faux. But yeah, it's softer. So that is that. And so I have a whole bunch of other journals as well, and they're mostly like either bullet journal blank or homemade journals that I have made for a particular theme or e-course or something that I'm taking, and the problem is that I've only used like a little part of it and I need to finish it. So those are all the journals, and maybe I should like grab all my journals and try to take a picture of it, but again, I've already mentioned this before, I'm horrible at taking pictures, so I wouldn't be able to make like a really cool planner stack and be all aesthetic about it, so we'll skip that. But thank you so much for watching, and I definitely would appreciate any of your comments if you have ideas on how I can use journals, on catching up, on how to make sense of all of these like theme journals that I have that is sort of driving me crazy and giving me anxiety. And even though like I have this like low hum of motivation of like, oh, it would be cool to finish that and do that, but then I sit there and analyze instead of actually doing it, so that's not very helpful. The only thing I can say is that I have kept up with my daily, A6 personal journaling, and obviously planner wise everything's okay, so I don't mind that, but it's everything else like creative contentment. How people say planner piece, is there such thing as like journal piece or creative piece? I don't know. I am on Instagram, tortagialla, and my website is tortagialla.com, where you can find loads of free printables and free printable papers. I'm also on Patreon. What I do in my spare time is create like pattern papers. So I post them all on my Patreon so you can print, because I'm a big pattern paper user. I print papers and use them usually as my backgrounds of journals, which is probably why my journal is so fat and um, sometimes falling apart because I use too much. Um, I stick so much paper in it. Where's the page that I wanted to show? I don't know. And the other day, if you watch previous video, you'll see that I had flipped through the Traveler's notebook insert that I finished, the standard size, and it says Stationery Love on the front, and that one is like filled with all the papers, which is why I totally tore apart that insert, and I was like, I should not do that again, because it was just a bit too much. But I really love using pattern papers. Just think it's so pretty. Like, not even, sometimes I just like stick the pattern paper there and that's it, because I just like the way it looks. Sort of like when we use stationery paper or memo papers because they're just pretty. So that's it for today. I'm gonna run off, but definitely send me a message or comment or let me know. You can find me on Instagram as tortagialla and on my website tortagialla.com if you want to know anything else. And I would definitely appreciate your comments and help on anything at all. And I think in the future maybe this is a good time to stream. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out like what is the best day and the time for me to stream stationery goodness. So I will definitely check on Discord and try to figure that out. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. It's nice to be like talking to someone. But I know that these are recorded as well, so you can definitely go back and check out everything that I have been chatting about. So thanks so much. Have a great day. I will see you next time.